Once you have finished gluing the torn paper on each heart, then we're going to add a little bit of glitter paint on top of our hearts. This will add even more texture to our Jim Dine hearts because we know the artist Jim Dine loves to use different materials to create texture in his work. Make sure before you do this step that your entire heart shape is filled with paper. You shouldn't see any white spots between the papers. If you do, you can add a little more paper on top and overlap some of the paper. Also make sure that the paper doesn't really go outside the edges. If it does, you can tear it off a little bit or fold it so that it makes a heart shape on the outside. Also make sure that you have outlined the lines between the backgrounds with a paint stick. I chose different colors for mine, but you can choose any colors that you like. It could be all one color or a few different colors. For our paints, we have gold and silver. We have them in these cups with lids. Make sure when you use one that you put the lid somewhere safe so that you can put it back on when you're done. We're also going to have a paper plate to rest our paintbrush on when we're not using it. So we're going to apply these on top of our hearts with a paintbrush. So I'm going to use gold and silver. I'm going to make this one gold and this one gold and then silver and silver. You can choose which colors you would like to do. I'm just painting this right on top of the paper on my heart. This will help seal all the paper together and flatten any of it that is sticking up. It will also dry a little bit lighter and a little more clear, so it's okay if it looks a little bit dark and covers a little bit of your colored paper. Try not to put any large amounts on like this. That would be way too much. You need to spread it out with your paintbrush so that it is see-through. We should still see the color of the paper. So I'm going around the outside and filling in the inside. And I'm only doing this on the heart, not on the background. I'm gonna go ahead and paint this one gold, and then I will move on to using silver. When you're done with a color, make sure that you put the lid back on so that it doesn't dry out. And then if you're switching colors, you can use a water cup to clean off your brush. Like I am going to use silver now, so I want to get the gold paint off of my brush. I wouldn't want to dip into the paint cup with gold on my brush because then I would get the silver dirty. And we want to keep these nice and clean so that someone else can use them on their art. And I'm gently wiping my brush on the edge of my cup. You can also test it on your paper plate to make sure that it is clean. Now I'm going to open up silver and I'm going to paint the silver on my remaining two hearts. Now I can put the lid back on silver and I'm done with the metallic paint. Make sure that you put your brush in your water cup, and you can bring this to the sink and put your brush in the dirty brush cup next to the sink. Now for our last step, we're going to use some black glue. We're going to use this to give our hearts an outline just on the edges of the heart. To open this, you just twist the orange cap like we do with the other glue bottles, not the white part, just the orange part, until you can't see that white dot anymore. The white dot means that it's closed. When you don't see the white dot, then it's open. And we're going to flip it over and trace the edges of our hearts only. So just like that, but around your heart shape. So I'm going to carefully go around my heart shape right along the edges. And it's good to go slow and hold your glue bottle up as straight as you can. You don't want to squeeze too much and get a big glob of glue because then it will start to drip and it could go inside your heart. And you might not like the way that looks. So just gently squeeze on the glue bottle to get a thin line. I'm going to go ahead and do this to the rest of my hearts. Remember, Jim Dine, the artist, likes to use texture in his work. So by creating this outline, it's going to create a raised surface on the edge of our heart. So it's okay if it's a little bit bumpy and uneven. Jim Dine's work is full of splatters, drips, and blobs of paint. When you're finished, put your project on the drying rack so that it will dry. I hope you had fun learning about the artist Jim Dine. I can't wait to see how your hearts turn out.